This is SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. The National Medal of Honor Museum. Discover the National Medal of Honor Museum and witness real people, real stories, and real courage. All-Tech Lansing. Just listen with All-Tech Lansing, perfecting sound since 1927. And by SWBC Mortgage. Customized solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit SWBC.com. Now, your hosts, Nate Newton and Bobby Belt.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to Cowboys Crosstalk Live on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, DallasCowboys.com, and all other associated social media platforms. We are live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. I'm Bobby Belt from 105.3 The Fan. That is the radio flagship home of the Dallas Cowboys. Tonight, I'm joined by Nick Eatman from DallasCowboys.com. As always, we've got the three-time Super Bowl champ and six-time Pro Bowler, Nate Newton.
Yeah.
And our special guest tonight won state titles in basketball and football. He walked on at Boise State and became one of the greatest players in school history, earning Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year in 2017 and becoming a first-round pick of the Dallas Cowboys in 2018. He spent 6 seasons with the Cowboys where he was named a Pro Bowler and second-team All-Pro during his time. Please welcome Leighton Vander Esch. Leighton, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, you didn't do that right.
What was I missing?
He the wolf hunter.
Yeah, you covered it. You covered it with
I thought you
your
did a
howl.
great job. Yeah, that was a great howl.
I thought it was really good.
That was awesome.
That's
the way I love you.
It was strong.
Is that the how they used at the stadium when you would
I
make
think it
those
is.
tackles?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
it sounded
man.
pretty similar.
What's
Yeah.
up, man?
No, it's good. I'm appreciative that you guys are having me on here. So I was looking forward to it all week.
You know, we were mentioning the fact that you won state titles, basketball, football, right there in the intro.
Yep.
I read a note, and I got to make sure it's true because I didn't read it totally sourced.
Yeah.
Did you graduate your high school in a class of 11 people?
Yeah.
11 people.
Yep.
And 8-man football, right?
Yes, sir.
Were you top 10 in the class?
That was a valedictorian.
Yeah. there you go.
I would have been top 10 for
Yeah.
sure.
All right.
Yeah.
That's my
Wow.
claim to fame right there.
Now, that's such a I imagine that's got to be a bit of a culture shock, right? Like you go from 11-person graduating class, 8-man football, walking
Yeah.
on at Boise State to the Dallas Cowboys, which are the show in professional sports in a lot of ways. Talk about, I guess, just that trajectory of your time growing up in Idaho and then getting to this point with the Cowboys and how that was maybe a little bit of a shock.
Yeah. Well, really, I didn't have any D1 offers to play football anywhere. I had a lot of walk-ons here or there, a lot of small schools that were offering me scholarships here, like in Idaho, in the Northwest, a lot of NAIA schools. But I had more offers to play basketball than football. But I was like, what's my best shot at going pro? And I was like, I got to go walk on in Boise because that was like every kid's dream, every boy's dream in Idaho. When you grow up there, like, I went to all those games growing up. And so getting the opportunity to walk on there, I was like, I didn't even care about whether I got a scholarship. I thought I deserved a scholarship for sure, but it just made the story that much better. And honestly, I knew I was going to go in there and work the way I always work and earn one. So, those 4 years were kind of a blur, and it all happened so fast because I redshirted and then I left as a junior. But that first year, I had a lot of upperclassmen ahead of me, and then so going in there and going to the D1 level from 8-man football, it was like, I remember the first time I stepped on the field for a walkthrough, and I was like, am I supposed to be here? Like, I don't even know if this is for me because it was just such a change. And the game was so fast. The guys were a lot bigger, everything. But I knew that once I settled in and once I've gotten the weight program, everything, and started eating right and lifting right and everything, I was going to fit in just fine.
Well, how big were you?
I went in when I got in at Boise my freshman year. I was like 195 pounds, 200 pounds, like 6'4".
Wow.
I was skinny. I was a basketball player. Like
Yeah.
I was tall and skinny.
Not just a basketball player, you were also starting quarterback
Yep.
on that 8-man football team.
Yeah.
Dave, if you've seen the highlights, you'd see with the cardio of him running around and being the mobile quarterback.
Wow.
Tush push?
Yeah. No, not tush push. This was all just.
Yeah, you don't need any
this
push.
was all just. This was Vic stuff.
I still wish to this day that Boise would have let me at least try quarterback. Try out. Like they were never going to let me walk on and play quarterback, but they were like, no, you're going to be a linebacker. And I was like, better at quarterback. But no, they were like, no, you're going to be a linebacker. But
How different was the game, I guess studying the game or understanding the game, going from 8-man to, all right, here we are, 11 on 11. Like how much of a transition is that going from that style of football and the way that you see the game versus getting to the regular football?
A huge transition because, I mean, in 8-man, I was calling the plays essentially. Like, we had our whole playbook and everything, but on offense, I was calling the plays. Like, I was out in the huddle just telling people what to do. Essentially, like, obviously, we had our route concepts, our numbers and everything, but it was pretty simple. And so I would call that, but then going to the 11-man game and actually the deep in college, it was like, dude, you have a 5-part play, and then within that play, you have your technique or a certain technique, and that technique, you can have 10 different techniques in a playbook for what you do depending on the play. And so you got to know your adjustments for your defensive front, your calls, get everybody lined up, know what the guy to your left is doing, the right's doing, your safety's behind you, and then you got to get the guys in front of you lined up right so you're all on the same page when the snap of the ball. So, like, that was all so much for me right out of the gates. But I knew I was going to learn it. I was fine. I just had to – I knew, like, my redshirt year, I was going to be good, just sitting back learning and all that. But it was such a huge change.
Well, I have a Boise question, but it may not be really about football. I never asked Kendrick. I never asked Tank or Tyrone.
Yeah.
So is it really a myth, or is this really – did birds, like, fly into the field, the blue field?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to ask.
No, we had geese on our field a lot. Everybody thinks that they would, like, dive bomb on the field and land on it because they think it's water and die because they aren't expecting it to be hard. But I mean, maybe it's happened before, but
I think you did tell me, though, that they have a trademark there.
Yeah.
Like, any field that's not green in college football, they paid Boise money. It could be turquoise like Coastal, or there's a red one.
Eastern Washington's got to pay for the red.
They got to pay.
Well, I don't know if they have to pay for it, but they have to get it. They have to go through Boise to get it approved first. I think is what it is. I mean, Boise's got it. So any off-color field, they got to go through Boise, I'm pretty sure, to do it.
What is it about Boise that I mean, obviously it was a program that, you know, Chris Peterson got a lot of credit for helping to kind of establish a culture, and you know, that has continued on a little bit. But what do you think it is about Boise compared to other programs that have been smaller that just has become a factory that the NFL goes, we trust what they're putting out, we trust what they're teaching guys, and we want that here?
I mean, it's the culture at Boise. It's what put Boise on the map when we beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. And so it's just, if you give the guys that Boise recruits are just the majority of them are just looking for a shot. And so when you give them that shot, dude, you're going to get the hardest workers, the grinders, the guys that come in that late are just chomping at the bit to go get their chance. And so that was my story from the beginning. I played 8-man football. I had 11 in my graduating class, like 36 in our whole high school when I graduated. Wow. Town of 400 people. So I just needed a shot. And so for them to give that to me was cool. I owed them everything, and I was going to give them every single bit that I had in my body to go out there and battle on the field and practice, and I knew the games were going to carry over. I just had to get my shot. And then when the upperclassmen graduated, which I didn't get to, I just had to get my shot. And I had 1 year at Boise. That just was – the rest was history. So these are just a lot of guys that are just waiting to get their chance. And Boise's giving it to them, and that's why they have such a good culture.
How different was – you talked about it's a culture shock going from 8-man up to Boise and that level and all the different responsibilities you had.
Yep.
Was it a similar shock going from, all right, we go 8-man football, 1 year starting at Boise, now we're in the NFL, and now it's go to – which you had a very impressive rookie year, and a lot of people were like, it looks like a 6-year veteran out here. Was that an easier transition than the 8-man to Boise was?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep, absolutely. I'll say that with full confidence. Like, I remember coming in here, I knew, like, with first practice when I was going against, like, Tyron and Zach and stuff, and Zeke and the run game, and those guys get a hold of you, I was like, okay, this is something different for sure. But once I learned how to use my speed and, like, not get away from what I was in college, and I realized, like, listen, like, I could fly around in college. I can fly around here. Like, I'm just as fast as all these guys. So once I learned to use my strengths to my advantage, everything was good. I just had to settle in. And so, yeah, it was – I thought my rookie year was cake, to be honest with you. But I think a lot of it was just instincts taking over. and with a good system. I mean, the coaches did a great job
Who
of
was
just
your coaches?
putting me in position to do right. Ben Bloom was our linebacker coach, Chris Richard and Marinelli.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great defensive staff, and we had a lot of fun. Like, I mean, the games that we won on the last drive that year was nuts. And honestly, we should have won the divisional round in LA. The defense we played freaking terrible, and our offense saved us almost every time. But if we would have just got through that game, we would have won a Super Bowl that year.
It's you bringing that up, winning games on the last drive and those sort of things. And there's a similarity here for this current Cowboys team because you guys that year made a big trade in roughly the same sort of spot record-wise, and it was a turning point for you guys. Let's take our first break. We'll talk about that here with Leighton Vander Esch on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk. When we come back, we'll dive into that. We'll get into a little bit more of Leighton's thoughts on the 2 recent trades that the Cowboys made and a whole lot more. That's next on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Whether you
Mortgages, Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
At SWBC, customized solutions for individuals and businesses are just a click away. Visit SWBC.com to learn more and start your next adventure. Welcome back to the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco for the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk. Coming to you live on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, DallasCowboys.com, and all other associated social media platforms. I'm Bobby Belt from 105 to the Fan in Dallas, the radio flagship home of the Cowboys. Tonight we've got Nick Eatman from DallasCowboys.com. The 3-time Super Bowl champ, 6-time Pro Bowler Nate Newton is here, and our Cowboys alumni this evening is Pro Bowler and All-Pro Leighton Vander Esch. So, Leighton, we're getting into some of the discussion about the pivot point that you guys had your rookie year with a big trade. Before we get into that, though, I've been dying all day to get to a question or a topic that I know Nick Eatman wants to get into.
Well,
with
we
you.
just-
I've been dying for. I'm just telling you, I'm eager to hear it.
Well, I just said I think it's a funny story.
I wanna hear it.
So it's like 2018, 2019. I think it was your second year. I was writing this story and needed a good headline, and there's a photo of you. So I was like, oh, it's going to be something how about it, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, how about them Cowboys? And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
I remember that.
So then I go to the merchandising director, and I said, have you ever thought about a T-shirt called "How About Them Cowboys"? And he was like, "It's Bill Priakis. He's pretty strict on things." He was like, yeah. We're already doing that. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. The next day, his assistant comes over and goes, hey, we're gonna use your idea. Bill came in and said he had a great idea, and so next thing I know, there's T-shirts everywhere.
Yeah.
How about them
Howl,
Cowboys?
and you're putting the L on there. Howl about them Cowboys.
It's got Leighton up there. He's howling. It says, "How about them Cowboys?" And they're in the pro shop for a couple years. My son had one when he,
Right.
so never got any royalties or anything of that for it. But it was just a more pat on the
Yeah.
back, like it was
Great
cool.
idea, yeah.
I loved it. It
You
was
know,
cool.
I think there are guys who, we've heard stories before of like, oh, this nickname just kind of followed me around, and like, I don't even know where it came from. I kind of liked it. What did you like that nickname? Was that one that you embraced?
With
You-
the
you're a
Wolf
big fan?
Hunter?
Yeah, the Wolf Hunter. Was that one
Oh,
that you
yeah.
really, really liked?
Absolutely. At first, I didn't realize like how kind of catchy it was, and I mean, it did make sense and everything because my whole draft meeting with the Cowboys at the Combine, we just talked about hunting the whole time, essentially, and like 2 minutes about football, and then it was like hunting and outdoors and stuff. But then I don't know when it was that season because it wasn't right out the gates or anything. I don't know when it was that season that I just thought of, man, I'm going to howl for my celebration after I make a big play or something. And then the stadium started playing the howl
Saints,
sound.
I think. Saints game maybe when y'all
was it?
really shut down Kamara
Yeah.
and it was a great
Yes,
defensive game.
you're right.
That's
you're right.
when I think
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is
Yep.
It's a thing. You and
Yeah.
Jalen both were really just flying around and
Yeah, they started cranking that in there, and it was like, all right, we're just going to run with this one. Yeah.
Well, this is we mentioned that rookie year. That was a big moment. The Saints game. There were a couple of big moments that year, but the big one it felt like for everybody that everybody goes back to is you guys are in Washington. You've got that was the weird LP Ladisor.
Snap
Did he?
infraction.
The snap infraction, which I think the kick was made, moved it back 5 yards, then it was off the goalpost.
Yeah.
And then it was the next day or 2 days later, the Amari Cooper trade happens ahead of the bye week. And you guys come back, you get Tennessee also coming out of the bye on a Monday night game. See, very similar. We're following these paths here, Nick.
Hope not, because that was a loss.
Monday night game, but dropped to 3-5.
Yeah.
With Amari's first game here. This Cowboys team sitting at 3-5-1, makes a couple of trades over the last few days. Logan Wilson from the Bengals, the linebacker, and then they make the big addition, giving up some capital for Quinnen Williams, which I know Nate is just giddy over here about. I want to get y'all's thoughts on both of these. First, Leighton, just your thoughts on Logan Wilson as a player, and then Nate, how much you're loving the Quinnen Williams move.
Yeah, I think the Logan trade is awesome, and I think obviously when you pair him with a D lineman like Quinnen, I mean you're going to get more bang for your buck there. I mean, you watch Logan's a Mountain West boy. I know he played for Wyoming. I know how that guy functions in his brain. I know how he prepares. I just know it. I don't have to know him to know that. Is what I'm saying. And so I think that's a great addition. I think he's an extremely smart football player. He might not be the flashiest out there, but, he's going to get everybody lined up. He's going to know what to do, and he's going to do his job. And so, I mean, I'm excited about the trade. I like it.
Nate, you're giddy over here about Quinnen Williams as well.
For 15 years I've been asking for this type guy, a guy that can keep guards off of linebackers. We got young linebackers, and they can't make it to the ball because we don't have enough guys eating up blocks, so these guys can run free and learn how to be a linebacker. A lot of these guys are trying to learn on the run, and you got to make it easier. Now, who you going to double team, Clark? Are you going to double team Quinnen? So you got to make a decision here. And these guys can both make plays off of tackles. When you have defensive tackles, a 3 technique and a number 1 and a 1 technique that can come off of blocks and make tackles, that is very, very disturbing for any team.
Yeah, and I mean, we know the Cowboys have had some troubles in the run game. Defensive troubles in general. In fact, we'll get into some of this a little bit later. Just you're talking about how important communication is and getting people lined up. We'll talk about the value of that and how that can help things. I'm curious, though, when the Amari Cooper trade was made, do you remember your feelings on it, the sense that guys like, was it like, hey, we got a shot. This is something that'll really change the game for us, or was it not until you got a little bit into some of these games and you're like, oh, this is a guy who's a difference maker?
Okay, so me as a rookie, I didn't realize truly how like explosive Amari was when we traded for him. But after watching like a little bit of his film and seeing like some of the videos of him when we first traded for him, and then his first game when we got him, and he's just blowing by guys. Like, he can take the top off. And it's like, okay, this guy's legit. And you can see why a trade of that caliber, why teams do it. And you just hope that you just hope you get that out of your trades, especially. So, obviously our offense has all the weapons, all the tools to get it done. And I think with a young offensive line like we have, what they're doing is pretty awesome. And so we just need the right things on defense. We just need the right leadership. We need the right line. Like, we need the right play calls, the right situations to be in. I mean, guys got to play good situational football and be smart and obviously communicate. So I think they're making the right moves.
The thing that is, when you as a coach, and Leighton can contest to this, when you talk about a standard, you have to be able to see it.
Yep.
To get to it. And when the standard is the standard, I'm like, okay, who's the standard on our defense? Mm-hmm. Now you have a guy, Clark, and this kid Williams, and this guy who knows how to prepare, Logan, who knows how to prepare. Now follow this guy, young linebackers. Follow him. Yeah. Hey, D-line, this is what it's all about now. It's a standard that you can see and feel, and that is going to be the difference over time. It's not going to happen overnight, 1 or 2 games, but 3, 4 games, you're going to start seeing the standard.
Yep.
I remember it was you guys lost that game to Tennessee, the first one that Amari was back. Yeah. It was the following week. You were on the road in Philly, and it was late. It was 27-20 game. There was this big 3rd and 2, and there was it was like a flare to Corey Clement.
Yeah, it was a freaking flare screen.
And it was I think it was Brandon Brooks was the play side guard, and he's trying to get to a spot, and you see it, and just. Like, I could see you kind of peek back at Kelsey and Brooks, and you just charge, dip under the block.
Yeah. I was like,
you flip the block and make a massive play. And that's the thing that it feels like this team, and that was a huge moment. When you guys won that game in Philly, it felt like, okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, how many tackles did you get? Like, wasn't that the 18?
I think that was
13.
Was it 13?
That was 13 and an interception.
That was 13 interception.
Yep, 13 interception.
And that was like my first.
You got one in Atlanta like the next week too, which I still don't know how you caught that ball. Like
I almost dropped it, dude. It almost went. I had it with my pinkies.
I was like, wait, what happened? And you're running with the football. Yeah. And when you were at Boise, it's funny. It's like we were like trying to find photos. Oh, we just drafted him. We got to find all these photos. I found 6 photos of you with the football. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, did he play running back? Like, no, just linebacker. But you had the ball a lot. So I was like, that's the guy I want.
Well, and that was it felt like there were a couple of different. New Orleans was a big game for you guys that year. Yeah. There was the other Philly game where Dak and Amari were just on fire with each other in the 4th quarter and overtime. That was such a big game. But it felt like that moment in that game, that Corey Clement stop, felt like, okay, this is a team that might be able to do something. You get the stop. You guys end up winning that game. When you talk about guys seeing things the right way, getting guys lined up and things like that felt like an example of you see it, you react, you hit it. How valuable is that now to have a guy like Logan Wilson who, plays at a high IQ level and can see some of those things, and maybe even if athleticism slipped a little bit for him in the last couple of years, the advantage of seeing something quickly enough can kind of curb some of that, losing a step.
Absolutely. I mean, it's your instincts got to take over at a certain point too, because you can't play robotic as a football player. You absolutely cannot do that, and that's the worst thing I see with these young guys that come in from college. Sorry, I might get off a topic for just a second.
No, please go.
But these guys that come in from college, this is something I've thought about so much over the last 6 months, is because I watch the young linebackers play all the time. And we've been young at linebacker for quite a while, but even when I was there. But when these guys are coming out of college, they're playing at the top of the game. They're the dudes of their team and everything. They're playing like full of juice, everything. Like they're playing good football. And then you bring them here, or you put them in the NFL, and then sometimes I don't know if it's a culture shock or some sort of coaching or what it is, but a lot of these young guys, they start playing robotic. And that was my biggest pet peeve. And it was like, dude, you got to let these guys be who they are. I mean, you got to let these guys play to their style and what they were coming out of college for and translating into it. Now, I know it's a lot of big responsibility to come in the NFL and play linebacker, but I'm telling you, these guys are going to play better if you let them play the way they played in college. Like, they're going to play faster, they're going to cruise. And so if you can have a guy on defense, a linebacker specifically, or even a safety that can communicate the plays and let these young guys go ball and fly, you're good. That was my favorite thing about my last year playing here before I got hurt was, dude, I had to tell everybody, I was like, dude, just let the guys go play. If I have to tell them what to do in the middle of the play, it's going to make me play better too, because I know exactly what he's doing. I know what he should be seeing, and I'm seeing it as well. Like, it made me play faster, telling him exactly what he had to do. Yeah, you might not you shouldn't have to do that in every situation, but there's certain situations where it makes you hone in on your senses even more when you're like, dude, like, line up here, do this, do that. Like, you're freaking dialed. Everybody's dialed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And to add on to that, he know the formations. Ken Norton was that guy for us, man. He studied. He never stopped talking. You never stopped.
No.
Brother, let me say something. Wilson, how long has he been in the league?
Logan Wilson's been in the league about 5 years now, 5, 6 years.
His skill set is still premium. His skill set is premium. This kid got caught up in a political thing over there. This kid can play. This kid can play. Let's give him 3 or 4 weeks. Let's watch him play before we say what it's. No, let's watch him play, babe. Because I'm telling you something. When you get a Mike linebacker or any linebacker that knows what to do, he start hollering out them formations. He go to lining up his wheel. He go to lining up his Sam. No, he go to snapping that tackle on that rear rump. Move over, boy. Let's go. It just get everybody revved, bro. It makes you go to work.
There was a time where one of the most common stats we'd hear, I'm sure Nick remembers it, it was something along the lines of, when Sean Lee's missing from the lineup, the Cowboys are 1-12 or something like that. I mean, it was just a night and day difference. And that was largely, I think, before you got here and then Jalen started playing like. But when Sean Lee was out of the lineup from like 2014 to 2017, there would be issues there. Is that why you think a lot of those issues probably existed, just because Sean was good at communicating, telling, like, is that the value of what one guy who sees the game really well can do?
100%. You're the quarterback of the defense. Like, you're lining everybody up. You should be telling guys what to do as a linebacker.
Is that one of the things that, you know, we talk about Overshown coming back off the knee and like, well, there may be some rust there. Adding Logan Wilson, if you add a guy like DeMarvion Overshown too back to this, even while he's knocking off that rust potentially, is that going to be a big value? You think of just, well, Overshown's going to be able to get guys into place.
With those two guys, they're good.
And Overshown.
Like Demo, this should be Demo's defense. This is going to be Demo's defense. I don't care about his freaking injuries or whatever. Like, obviously, he's got to come back and prove that he's still got it and everything, but I have complete and total faith that he's still that guy.
That's why you have Wilson.
Yep.
So Demo can run.
Yeah.
But Demo is demanding. Demo is demanding, and he's confident in his calls and everything too. I love the kid to death. And so having those two guys, like, that's like having a 1-2 punch like that at linebacker with the rawness that Demo still has, dude, the sky's the limit for him.
He's the first linebacker, a guy that I know that never acted like he had an injury.
Yeah.
They had to hold him back even last year when they had to hold him back in practice. I'm like, and I went up to him one day, I said, how you feel? He's like, man, coach need to let me get on this field. I'm like, this dude just had a major.
I remember I had asked somebody last year who had stood out during the offseason, and one of the coaches said, it's Demo. And I was like, even while the rehab, and they're like, he got into this, and most guys who get an injury like that will mope or they'll get down and just they feel bad about themselves, which is natural. They get isolated from the team.
Right.
And he goes, David Durden and John Stevens were rehabbing knee injuries at the same time, and Demo was on top of them of like, we're not going to pout. This is our position group. This is our work group here. We're going to work like they work, and really took charge and got close with those guys. And that definitely feels like a leadership style and a communication style, like you talked about, that they've probably really missed so far early in this season.
Absolutely. And then you pair that with his energy and his explosiveness. Like, dude, I wish all the time that I got the chance to play a full season with Demo.
Wow.
Every time I watched that kid play football, I'm like, and I told my wife, even like, even when, so my last year when I got hurt game 5. When Demo was a rookie that year and he tore his ACL in the first preseason game in Seattle, like, I was heartbroken because I wasn't gonna get the chance to play with this kid, and I didn't know how long my career was gonna last. Like, I'm freaking, any game could be my last game, and it was. And so like that was the thing about it. But I think about it all the time. I'm like, dude, I wish I could have freaking played a full season with you, or even a few games, just to like get the feel of playing next to somebody like that again, because I hadn't had that in a while.
That is.
You ever thought about coaching? Sorry, but
no, go ahead.
I mean, because you can kind of. I mean, I know, especially a smart football player is going to be one that could coach. I think Sean Lee could be if he wanted to. It's a lot of commitment, a lot of hours. I get all that too. But I feel like you have that passion of the game, and you kind of know. I didn't know if that's something you've ever thought about.
No, I always. Yeah. All the time. And I, like with the young guys there, like I still have a relationship with a lot of them because in my age in my career, like I was still fairly young, but I was the oldest guy in our room by a lot. Like being year 6 and 7, it was like these guys are all, I'm playing with first, second year guys. And so getting to see them come in, I'm like, dude, you're good. I got you. You line up and play football the way you know how to play football. You could tell from my last year and a half there, when I was playing next to a younger guy, after I had stated that, and I had great communication with DQ, great communication with our linebacker coach, Scotty, like those young guys freaking played better. Like they were playing, like it was an uphill trend. And so we just have to have a culture like that. You got to have a young guy. You got to have somebody in the linebacker room, especially being the quarterback of the defense, that can make people feel comfortable and confident in you that, I'm like, he's going to get everybody lined up and we're good.
That is the voice of Leighton Vander Esch. Let's take our second break
good
here
stuff.
on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk. When we come back, a lot of talk about communication right there. Let's talk about good communication, how to improve some of that, and how the new linebackers and Quinn Williams may be able to help the Cowboys with that. That's next on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Good stuff.
Back to SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Want to use what the pros use? Jack Black is the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit getjackblack.com today. Welcome back to the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco for the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk. I'm Bobby Belt from 105 through the Fan in Dallas, radio flagship home of the Dallas Cowboys. Tonight we've got Nick Eatman from DallasCowboys.com. The 3-time Super Bowl champion and 6-time Pro Bowler Nate Newton is here as always. And our Cowboys alumni this evening is Pro Bowler and All-Pro Leighton Vander Esch. Leighton, appreciate you for joining us here. It's been a good conversation so far. You've talked about a couple different things that I'm curious how you see it applying to today. So let's start with the communication aspect of it.
Yep.
That has been the biggest part that we've heard Shoddy continue to hammer home of communication. If that's right, defense would be in a lot better position. I remember we asked him on the Fan when he came on, said, explain what that means for fans who don't understand what communication means. And he said, okay, because it's not like you're breaking the huddle and you're going, all right, guys, cover 3. And you step out there and somebody goes, oh, I thought we were in cover 2. He said, no, it's when we get out there, from breaking the huddle to the snap of the ball, the shifts that the offense makes or does that changes your responsibility and not everybody gets on board. Talk about how different a play call can be and how different everybody's responsibilities can be with just a simple shift or a motion or something else. And how do you clean up some of that communication so everybody's on the same page?
Yeah, well, I don't know exactly what the playbook is now, but depending on a certain shift, it can change the complete and total play call. Like, you can have a dual play. Like, you can, if they come out in this, it's cover 2. If they come out in this, it's cover 3. If it changes here, it changes. So I don't know exactly what they're doing. I don't know exactly what the playbook is in certain situations, but I know that there's certain adjustments that the offense does that they're trying to get you in because they see stuff on film. And if the defense isn't lined up right, or if they don't make the right adjustment to it, half the defense could be playing something and half the defense could be playing something else. And so if you don't have the guys that can communicate that confidently, whether they're preparing or not,
Yeah.
you're hung out to dry.
We see it a lot. You know, obviously they lose the game on Sunday or they lose it on Monday night. But does it feel like sometimes the teams can really lose a game on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday by not preparing that way?
Yep, no doubt.
I mean, I'm not pinpointing this team, but it just seems like from the preparation standpoint, that's where they're lacking something.
Dude, and absolutely, you're 100% right. And the reason I'm saying this is because when I was playing, and when DQ was even with Marinelli and DQ, I was at a different stage of my career when I was with Marinelli. I was the first 3 years of my career. But with DQ, it was like I had a gap in there with Nolan, and then I had 3 with DQ. And so when I would come into the facility early in the week, like, I was almost taking it upon myself. Like, the way I looked at it was, I'm going to prepare and look at these plays and come in here and get all these plays written down and do all this for the game plan for the first day ahead or first 2 days ahead of practice, so that when we come out here, like, I can talk to the guys on defense and get them lined up, talk to the safeties, and even if it's the first time they've heard it, I can tell them exactly what it is. So it gives us a jump. And as a linebacker and as a quarterback, you should be doing that. Is what I'm saying. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
So
you gain there.
Yeah.
You gain there because you will not have as many mistakes in practice that you have to go correct if you have a guy that comes in and does that.
Did Sean do that?
Absolutely.
There you go.
100%. And I learned it from him. I learned how to prepare the right way from Sean. And so that carry.
You all right?
Dude.
Because what he's saying, the bottom line is this right here. It ain't. A lot of the times it's not your physical skill set.
No.
Coaches fear the blown play because it turns into 15, 20 yards or a touchdown. And continue to speak, young man. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And so in the middle of practice, we might – if I didn't do that, I feel like – or if certain guys didn't do that, Sean, I'm not just tooting my own horn. I'm just speaking it how I saw it and how my experience was in my career.
Right.
Because I knew the weeks where we had freaking terrible weeks of practice, and I'm like, I didn't prepare as good that week. I would just take it upon myself, and I'd be like, I blame myself more than I would blame anybody else because I'm like, dude, in a certain play, specifically in practice, I'm like, dude, if I could have just communicated better, even if they didn't know what was coming, at least we're lined up on the same page. I can give them a heads up like, yo, this is coming, or this is what the play call adjustment's going to be. If there's 2, 3, 4 adjustments in a play with the front, with the coverage behind me, just having the communication with the coaches prior to practice a day ahead is going to get everybody else lined up that much faster, that much better in practice the next day. And so not having as many mistakes in practice that week because the guys have prepared is going to lead into the game.
We've talked about this a little bit over the last couple weeks, but, you know, when a play is busted or when you see just a completely blown coverage, it looks like, and somebody scores deep, which has happened a few times to the Cowboys this year. In your experience on the football field, when that happened on defenses that you were on, how frequently was that just a mental lapse? How frequently was that poor communication? And then how frequently was it something, Nate, you and I were talking about recently that Richard Sherman had said that sometimes offensive coordinators are so good or they know your tendency so much, they can literally break your rules and everybody can do their job, but they know how to break your rules and find an open spot for what looks like a bust. How often in your experience did you see busted plays came down to communication versus some of those other things?
Just communication, get everybody lined up, because we rarely had a wide open receiver run free, like when I was on defense. Like I can't think of like a specific time in my career, and even go back even when Sean was here, like we didn't have a lot of freaking just busted coverages. We didn't. Maybe my third year we might have had a couple actual routes that were being schemed against us that we actually had to change our rules for because everybody had learned our system and how we were covering it in cover 3. And so offenses were like trying to fudge things to make us actually prepare for them. So yeah, we had to change a couple of our specific rules within our plays to do that. But other than that, dude, it's communication.
Nate, go ahead, Nate.
This is what bothers me is, and I'm going to ask this question. Did y'all ever play cover 2? Did y'all ever play cover 3? Or y'all always just was man?
We played all. We played man. We played cover 2, cover 3. We made our cover 3s look like cover 2. We made our cover 2s look like cover 3. We played quarters a lot. We could make every single one of those plays. We could take man out of it. Man's man, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we could make freaking cover 2 look like man.
So this season,
we could do.
This season's got to be frustrating for you to watch. I mean, like you watch. Yeah. I heard you say the Cowboys, your team, always will be. You watch the games.
Yep.
This season, for all the stuff you're saying, because it's frustrating to kind of hear what it was, and I bet you this has been a tough season just for you to, because you can see this stuff.
For sure, and I'm saying it starts with the linebackers. I'm just going to say it. And so if those guys aren't communicating and those guys can't get out there and get everybody lined up, like I know there might be some situations where you're not in the best position. It might not be the best play call, but you know what gets over that? Everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
Can you, when we talk about Quinnen Williams coming in here and Logan Wilson coming in here, both guys who were captains at their previous teams, Kenny Clark coming in here as a previous captain late in the game. Do you think there would be any hesitancy? Obviously, you're never in this position, but you may have seen it with acquisitions like Michael Bennett or some other guys during your career. Is there any sort of hesitancy of like, well, let me build up some rapport here before I start really trying to take accountability? Or would you say, no, Logan Wilson, you've been brought in here to do a job, take command, and be that guy?
I would say where the position of the defense is, 100%.
This is
Time to do it.
This is the deal,
It's
my
a freaking blank slate at this point.
Yeah.
It is a complete blank slate.
Thank you.
You're preaching to Nate's soul tonight.
This is what I can tell everybody is when I looked at ESPN.com, they had Quinnen Williams and Wilson starting. We got a whole week for this kid to absorb this playbook. He has the bigger job. Wilson has the bigger job. We can just say, hey, Quinnen, line up at the 3 technique, rush the passer, maintain a gap. Yeah. But this guy going to line everybody up. That was Ken Norton for us, and then the secondary, that was Darren Woodson. When you have two guys out there just hollering and making the adjustments and freeing up, like you say, freeing up guys to be able to play. Yep. Once you get into your position, you know your responsibilities. But it's getting in your position. And I'm excited. Give them 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
It may not look good at first, but give them 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. And with these two, rush and cover have to work together. They have to complement each other.
Yes.
Like there is coverage sacks. There is a way that the secondary can cover so good that it gives the second or the front time to get there and get the sack.
Right.
And then there's also times where the front saves the coverage because they get there so fast. So we don't have that right now.
Did you like the Micah trade? I mean, we haven't really talked about that, but I mean, that was here he is, this dynamic player, and they made the trade. What was your initial thought on that?
I'm still digesting it, to be honest with you, and we'll see in the next couple weeks.
Let's take our final break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more with Leighton Vander Esch about how the Cowboys can progress moving forward, and if the moves made are enough to make this team a contender. That's when we come back here next on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Back to SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
At SWBC, customized solutions for individuals and businesses are just a click away. Visit SWBC.com to learn more and start your next adventure. Welcome back for the final segment here at the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco for the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk. We're coming to you live on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, DallasCowboys.com, and all other associated social media platforms every Wednesday throughout the NFL season. I'm Bobby Belt from 105 through the Fan. We've got Nick Eatman. I am, Nate. We've got Nick Eatman from DallasCowboys.com.
Yes, he is.
We've got the 3-time Super Bowl champ, 6-time Pro Bowler, and former Florida A&M kicker, Nate Newton.
Kicker?
Yeah, he was a kicker. We covered that a couple weeks ago. He had to kick for his school a little bit.
How'd that go?
All right. Good.
He played guard in the
Until
NFL. That's how it went.
better.
And our guest tonight, our Cowboys alumni, is Leighton Vander Esch. So, I want to turn this over really quickly to Nate Newton. Nate, you seem to be loving so much of what Leighton's saying tonight. Is there anything you'd like to get Leighton's perspective on for the second half of this season coming up?
Yes. How do you break a young horse?
That's a good question.
A young stallion that's strong and probably
this
about
is not
2
an
years.
analogy for football. You're really asking this, right?
Okay, I'm thinking of like, how do I apply this to football?
No, you're not asking that, right?
Have you ever raised a colt from a foal of colt and broke a young stallion to ride?
You should ask my wife that question.
Okay, all right, okay.
Now the football version.
The question I really have, man, is it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Talking to you and I'm always going at Bobby about players and their responsibilities, and I'm quite sure we understand you took a lot on your shoulders.
Yeah.
As Sean Lee did, as Ken Norton did, as Darren Woodson did, and I'm hoping that the guy Wilson can take a lot on his shoulders, man, and help these young guys, man.
I think that's his lifeline right now to make an instant impact.
Really.
It might be hard to do it right out the gates, obviously, because you're getting traded in the middle of the season. I can't imagine being traded in the middle of the season and having to go and learn a whole new system. But Flus needs to take this opportunity to make things simple for them both, for Quinnen and Logan. But you got a guy like Logan, like give him what he needs, and then you're gonna know, like, okay, he's good to go. Like he's ready for it all now.
Right.
How do you make it simple for a coach to make it simple for a player to figure it out, to understand the scheme, but not simple for the offensive coordinator says, I know exactly what they're doing? Is that kind of the tough balance for coaches?
Well, you got to know, yes, for sure. But you also got to know what you're good at.
Yeah.
Like, you really got to know what you're good at. You have to have an identity. And so that's another topic we can talk about is our identity on defense.
They have
Do we
one,
have an
but
identity? It's like, dude. So you got to have something that you got to have a corner you can always go to on defense that you're like, okay, I'm completely comfortable and I'm completely confident here. You got to give that to these guys first and let them see how they handle it. I mean, you got to give them your bread and butter. What you're good at.
I remember 2021. You guys were 12-5 that season, but I remember all the games that you guys lost. It felt like Kansas City, Raiders, a couple of those different games that year. I remember it was usually you and Zach Martin after the game both would have the same common criticism of why you guys had lost the game. You guys were talking about physicality. Somebody came in here and they punched us in the mouth.
Yep.
They hit it. They played too physical. We just didn't match physicality. And how do you think these acquisitions may help? Because that's something Shade's talked about in recent weeks. He doesn't feel like they've played physical enough. How do you think this helps physicality? And how much can you coach up physicality or get physicality out of somebody versus it just being innate in them and having to acquire players who have it?
I mean, at this level, you got it or you don't got it. You ain't going to teach a grown man to all of a sudden be physical. Like, you either draft them because they have it in them and it was born in them as a football player, or they don't got it.
Is physicality more than just hitting the weight room and being willing to hit? Like, what all goes
100%,
into that to you?
Yeah, absolutely. But there was also, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, there was weeks where I watched myself on film. I'm like, dude, what was I doing? Like, throw my freaking hands on this guy. And then in practice, I took that one thing. I take one or two things out of every game where I was, like, embarrassed of myself, no matter how good I played. And I was like, okay, I put this in my notes. This is what I'm going to focus on every single rep in practice, in individual, in team drills, no matter what, even in special teams. I didn't play special teams when we did the drills and stuff in it. And so there were certain weeks where I'm like, dude, I played so soft this week. The next week, you know what I did? The hardest I did possible in practice the whole next week, even in no pads, in shells and in jerseys, and guys would get mad at me for it. If I didn't throw my hands hard enough, I'm doing it.
You know what?
Just to get it ingrained in my mind again.
I'm kind of careful to speak for the entire Cowboys nation here, but I will on this one.
Yeah.
You've been missed. Big time. Big time. This team, this organization, that mentality, because I think 1 out of 10, your love for football is like a 14 or 15.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's people on this team that I don't think that's even close. I think their love for football, they like what football gives them. They don't necessarily love what to be a great football player. And I think you in that mentality is what has definitely been lacking for this team.
Well, first of all, I appreciate it very much.
I know you
And
can't say that, but
second of
will
all,
will you
I
agree with me
completely
there?
agree with you.
I'm excited about you being excited, bro.
Well, I'm just saying everything you're saying is about
it's
parents.
truth. It's truth.
You know, I've been on the team charters and you have too, and you know,
Yeah.
and it's like you hear in the background all the carry on, and you're like, wait, did they win? Like, no, they did not win. And I bet you there's always a handful of people that are probably just like, God, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you were one of those, because Sean was that way,
Yep.
and you guys are pretty much clones to me.
Yep. And even, like I said, you're that way, but you're that way with yourself too.
Yeah.
Like, first and foremost, as a linebacker, like, dude, I was harder on myself than anybody else was ever. Like, yeah, you read comments on freaking social media or whatever, like, oh, this guy sucks, or he's freaking washed, or he's so soft, whatever. Like, yeah, whatever. Like, you see that. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I'm harder on myself than that comment is.
Than that guy.
So it's just, that's what you're going to get out of the guys like Sean, like guys that I played
Can
with
we get an extra
in
hour?
tank and
Can
stuff, so.
we just dominate? Can we throw our hands and get an extra hour?
I'd love
Yeah.
to. I mean, we are bound by the clock, I believe. But like we need to talk to Allison, get Allison to get us a second hour here. So
Man, brother.
we're here in the last 30
Brother,
seconds.
that's real,
Leighton
man.
Vander Esch, thank you
Yeah.
so much. This was a treat, and I think a lot of people really enjoyed this, and they can't wait to see you get into coaching, hopefully, because I think that's what they're looking for. I know Nate can't wait to be howling again on the sideline. For Leighton Vander Esch, Nate Newton, Nick Eatman, I'm Bobby Bell. We will talk to you guys again next week on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.